Wenfei Uva, who is with Seaberry Farms. And Wenfei and her husband, Richard, own Seaberry Farms, which is a 36-acre specialty fruit and flower farm in Fredericksburg, Maryland. And they've been farming since 2007. Wenfei has her PhD from Cornell University in ag economics. And she held a position as extension leader for farm management with Cornell. And I have to say, early in my career, I went to one of the farm marketing conferences that she ran, and I think it was one of the best conferences I've ever attended. So she was with Cornell from 1999 to 2007. And today, Seaberry Farm grows a large selection of trees, shrubs, cut from woody branches, specializing in flowers. And they also grow specialty fruits, which she'll be telling us about this evening. And you can visit Seaberry Farms on Facebook. So welcome, Wenfei.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank Robin, and I believe AJ has something to do with it as well, for inviting me to be part of this program. It's been a while since I gave a presentation. I've been a full-time farmer since 2007. So forgive me if I'm not really technology-wise, I have some glitches. I have my daughter out there at the door to run in as soon as I need help. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk to the other women in agriculture, to share my experience. So today, what I really want to do is mainly share Rick and my husband, Rick, and my experience from having a dream to start a farm, coming from academic careers at Cornell. And after 15 years, we are both full-time working on the farm with 10 employees, 36 acres, mainly cut flowers. We also have some fruit. So I like to share our experiences with you. There's no right or wrong. That's what we did may or may not be the right answer for you, but I will be happy to share my experience. And if you have any questions at the end, feel free. I have an opinion. You take it or drop it. I'm not going to be talking about my old time presentations like business planning or financial management or cost accounting like that, but I want to share my experience with you as a farmer, the good and the bad and the ugly. Mm-hmm. So let me start, see if I can share my screen. So yeah, so this is our farm. That's the old farmhouse, 1876 with our sign up front. So, okay. So my agenda today is really, again, just to share my experience, and we'll be focusing on marketing, financial, and human resource side of things. If you want production, you have to get Rick today, but today you got me. So we're going to talk about the other side of the business. And I want to discuss changes we made based on our own choices or due to the risks we face, especially over the last few years, pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. There's a lot of changes and risks we faced and things we do based on our situation. So just a little background. You already heard about my previous life at Cornell. Neither of us are from farming family. I grew up in Taipei, Taiwan, a big city, urban girl. Rick grew up outside of Boston, in Massachusetts. So again, a suburb kid. We both love horticulture. We went to Cornell for our master's and PhD degree. He's in horticulture, mine in horticulture and ag economics, very much like Robin. I took a job as extension marketing specialist, looked up to Robin and telling her that I want to be like her one day. But after 8 years at Cornell, for the position, we stayed in Ithaca, a total of 16 years, give or take. 8 years into our Cornell career, we decided we wanted to start a business. After we thought about it, we decided starting a farm is probably a good bet for us with his background in horticulture production and mine in business management and marketing. So in 2006, Rick and I came down to Eastern Shore, Maryland, actually, to look for a piece of land, and we purchased a 36-acre farm in Federalsburg, Maryland, on the Eastern Shore. And then we moved a family so at that time, we have 2 young children, really young children, 2.5 years old is my daughter, and 6 months old was my son. We moved down to the Eastern Shore from Ithaca, New York, to start the farm in 2007. So think about the reason. I know most of you have the location chosen already. We had the luxury of choosing where we wanted to go. So we chose Maryland's Eastern Shore because some of the reasons, some major reasons is the proximity to market. So I can go to DC, Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia area outside of DC, Philadelphia, New Jersey, within few hours of drive, 2 to 3 hours. If I really want to, I can go up to New York City within a day of drive. So I'm really, really close to markets, close to near, I would say 20%, 25% of the US population is all here, and the wealth of 50% of the US wealth maybe. So we wanted to be close to market. And also I consider this area to be relatively stable in terms of the economic situation due to so many companies. The federal government is right here, and so many companies and organizations having related to the federal government and are here. So I think the economic stability is very good in this area. And also surprisingly, we are only 2 hours from the Metro DC, but 80%, I think, roughly give or take, of the land on the Eastern Shore, Maryland, still under agriculture production. So with that said, I can see community support for agriculture, political support for agriculture, and more importantly, the agriculture industry support, the supply companies, the other kind of supporting industries are here. My husband can pretty much drive the tractor down the road and get it fixed without having to go to another state. So that's another reason. And there are some other personal reasons, like I want to be near the ocean. I'm an island girl. That's a bonus too. So we did have an initial business plan, and being, you know, an academic, so we started the business plan. We wanted to focus on wholesale businesses with specialty niche floral and fruit products, and that was the big picture. So the start of our business, our initial crop, we wanted to start crops with this for floral industry, woody cut branches. This is a very, I don't know how many of you heard of this category of product. I can't see you. I can't even see you. It's puzzles if I'm talking about something that you never heard of. But these are the products that they're all for floral use. If you look at the pictures on the left, those curly, twiggy, twirly things are called curly willow. And those products in that picture was about 6 to 7 feet tall. People are using it for special statement arrangements at lobby, big events. The product behind it in the little, in the IBC toads, those are also 5 to 6 foot tall flowering branches, cornel dogwood. The pictures on the right of your screen is dogwood. They're coloring dogwood, again, for interest of this color stain. Lower left, berries, winter berries for Christmas product use. And then they're doing, showing this next slide, showing you the pictures how they are used in different occasions, big events, big weddings, hotel conferences, galleries. So we thought these products would be really hard to ship. You can't really fly them in from South America, a 7 foot tall curly willow. And it's hard to grow because these woody plants, you need to know how to grow them, when to cut them. So they have shelf life, base life. That's Rick's specialty. He knows how to grow these woody plants. So that's one of the things we think would be good for us as a local supplier and know how to grow these products. And also another group of crops we want to grow is specialty fruit. So we thought about beach plum. Many of you probably know beach plum growing along the coastline in the sand dune. You probably know someone goes out to the beach to collect the plum fruit in the fall and make jam and jelly. That's peach plum is actually one of Rick's projects during his graduate studies. So we want to grow them, and being from Cape Cod is one of the fruits dear to his heart. And then another crop we thought about was pawpaws, the native fruit, hardy kiwi, Asian persimmon, figs, peaches, and plums. So that's the group of fruits we wanted to grow. So that's the dream. Now we got issues, we got problems with our initial crop. They all require a very large upfront investment. Buying the trees takes a lot of land, takes a lot of labor, and most of all, it takes years to grow them, to have harvest, for me to market them, for us to get income. And some products were so niche and so special that we have to create markets for them. So people don't know about them. There are some of the woody plants I would show up at the market and they were like, what is that? So it really takes effort and time to market them, and it may or may not work. And on top of that, some of the crops have production issues in our region, like persimmon and figs. They're just not quite hardy enough for Maryland. And some of them are so unusual that were just no resources on how to grow them and process them, harvest them. I know we have some extension educators here with us tonight. Imagine Rick goes into your office and asks you, hi, how do I grow hardy kiwi? So we have a lot of things, a lot of homework to do for us. So what we did was I took an off-farm job. We need a production person on the farm to grow those products. And I took a job with Midshore Regional Council. And it's also by luck or also by plan, I could have gotten a job with the local a college to teach, but I wanted to take this job with the Midshore Regional Council. That was a county and state funded regional economic development agency, and they were looking for someone to do agriculture development. So I took the position, and I hope I help the farmers. I work with farmers on economic and business management marketing issues. At the same time, I got to meet a lot of local farmers, and we talked about networking. Being from out of the region, not having any connection here locally, not knowing anybody, not from an agriculture farming background, I got to know a lot of farmers, and being in their kitchen, in their living room, talking to them about their issues, they turned around, they helped me greatly later on. And also the agriculture leadership, getting out there, get to know them. So don't hesitate to go out there, meet people. This is a great course you are in now. You already know 20 of others of your fellow ladies, and then you know the resources from Rutgers. It's just great. And then Rick started growing annual flowers and specialty vegetables and melons for local farmers market to get income. And also another purpose of doing that is, again, we were new here, brand new. No one knew us. So we have to get to know the local customers, the local market. What do they like? What are they like? Are they different from upstate New York and then from other places? And also let them get to know us. What is Seaberry Farm? What do we grow? We grow flowers, we grow fruits. So we want to get our name out there. At the same time, coming back to our original business plan, it is wholesale. It is our specialty fruit and flowers. So we started reaching out and building relationship with wholesale florists and fruit buyers, asking them, showing them our products. And really, we had background in academics, but I've never actually sold these woody plants in the market. So I needed to know how to package them, when to sell them, how to grade them, what is the timing of these products to sell them, when do I sell various crops, and who are the contacts in different businesses. I would say this takes me 2 to 3 years before I could actually I'm selling these items to these companies after I have harvest. So that's about 5 years after we started the business. So I got to learn what sells. The product, the flowers on the right side of your screen is dahlias. We got to learn what varieties, what colors to grow. And I realized later on, I can sell a lot of them. But the products on the left in the truck, those summer flowers, I could sell them, but I couldn't really sell a lot of them at this time. So when to harvest peaches for different products, different markets, a lot of things to learn and to know. Oops. Sorry, I got it backwards. And then we discovered some new markets too throughout what we did over the first few years. Weddings and events. Without me knowing, we moved to an area that is a destination wedding site. People from DC, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Virginia came to Maryland's Eastern Shore to get married because of the beautiful Chesapeake Bay and the beach. And so when we were doing farmers market, I forgot to tell you too, I was a florist. I learned floral design since I was a teenager, and I worked for flower shops during my graduate studies. So I could design. I liked design. So when I was at farmers market, people started asking me to do weddings, and that really took a lot of gas and power, and we started doing a lot of business with the venues that is doing a lot of these destination wedding businesses. Another new market wasn't in the business plan, and we picked up over the first maybe 3 to 5, 6 years our supermarket. Through the networking of Maryland Department of Agriculture introducing us to supermarkets who wanted to buy local, we started selling to supermarkets. First came Whole Foods and Wegmans and other markets. We started selling bouquets into these supermarkets, as well as repackaging our woody products. Remember I showed you the pictures of the 7-foot curly willow. Now we have to shrink the product sizes down, sleeve them, put price label on them, box them, and ship them to these supermarkets. Doing pretty well, very happy about it. So now you're probably all thinking, what is she talking about? There are just way too many things. And you are absolutely right. We were going crazy. Everything seems to be fun, seems to have a lot of hope, a lot of future, so fun to do. We're doing flowers, local flowers, wholesale flowers. Our fields are growing. We're doing weddings. By the way, we were also making jelly, roasting coffee, still growing specialty melons and heirloom squash because Rick loves them. And we even hosted tours from agritourism from time to time. We were going crazy, just not working. I know a lot of you talked about, I'm going to go back to this crazy picture here, talked about you, a husband and wife team. One thing we didn't do, I should say, is sit down, meeting with each other professionally, not like husband and wife, business planning. I would highly recommend that. Set things aside. Our kids were little. We have the knowledge, I believe, but we did not talk. So we were overstretched with employees running everywhere. We were doing everything for everybody. So we finally decided we got to sit down and talk. We're still not perfect on that, but even once a week, talk to each other, even just go out for a ride at on your farm, you can talk about business. So what we came down, our experiences, we decided to talk about what is working and what is not. And we realized that our strength for Seaberry Farm, for Rick and I, are really in the floral market. 36 acres is not big by any means for farms in general in the US, but it's big enough. We have the ability to produce large quantity of floral products as a local supplier for our wholesale florists and supermarkets. We have the ability to supply same customer in the floral market year round. So I have field grown flowers from April to October. Then from October to the following April, I have the woody cut. So I have the product. I will be a consistent supplier for our customers. We have the floral design ability. We could do really good weddings. And our supermarket bouquets definitely different from the bouquets you see from mass market bouquets, like, you know, 2 moms and 1 daisy and 1 baby's breath, or maybe a lily, the assembly line bouquets. If you notice the picture before, the bouquets are different, I think. And we are very diversified. We have about over 100 floral varieties, 50 woody branch varieties, and I even started selling fruit branches for floral design use, like peach blossom branches. Instead of cutting them for fruit, I'm cutting them to sell them for flowers, cherry branches, things like that. And our weaknesses are in the fruit market. Nothing wrong with the fruit, but we're just not big enough as a fruit supplier, and we're very seasonal. We only have fruit 4 to 6 weeks out of the year. It would take on too much financial risk. Look at the numbers to grow as a reliable fruit supplier. We need additional implements. We need additional people to prune, to harvest, to do a lot of things right for fruit production. And personally, because I just can't take on with more paperwork. So for a product which is only going to get us income for 6 weeks out of the year. So I'm not because we're not doing the food safety, the good agriculture practice kind of production practices, but in order to be able to sell to wholesale markets, supermarkets, I need to have the paperwork certification ready, either organic or good agriculture practice. And I just don't have time for crops that can only sell 6 weeks out of the year to fulfill all the requirements. So we never did it. And so I could not sell to the supermarkets, even though they're buying flowers from us year round. And in this case, diversity really didn't help us in marketing. In the flower side, if one crop failed, let's say if zinnia didn't grow well, white zinnia didn't grow well, I can always use white dahlias in my wedding bouquets or my supermarket bouquets. But if my peaches didn't do right, I cannot sell hardy kiwis. So it's comparatively, we just feel like our strength is in the flower market and not the fruit market. So we started taking down our fruit production and replaced it as what we see are the most profitable product in the flower production side of things. Then on the marketing side, what's working, what is not? We decided to back out of farmers market. Again, majority of them are seasonal and very weather dependent, because our design and setup capacity, we can do very good wedding businesses. So on weekends, no matter it's raining or sunshine, the client will get married. So I don't have to worry about wedding. I don't have to worry about weather. And we also decided we want to go with wholesale versus retail, just again, because of our personal preferences and our capacity. I can deal with less customers and with using larger quantity. Maybe the prices are lower, but we can accomplish our end goal with wholesale, better fit in our personal life kind of requirements. And year-round and seasonal is to choose to go this way is we can offer our labor year-round employment. So all our employees at the time were year-round full-time employees. And that's just much better than I don't want to. It takes a lot to train employees to be able to do the work we need them to do. The cut flower, you can't have any blemish. There are certain things you have to do to the 100 different flowers. Everyone has a little different requirement. So I need well-trained employees, and I just don't want to let them not have a job in the wintertime. So the flower side of things, I can have them year-round working on the farm. So eventually we decided what we want to expand, what's the product that sells, and the market we want to stay in. So that brings us, that's another 5 years past. That brings us up to date to the pre-COVID time. We're getting very comfortable with our three major markets. The first one is supermarkets. We were selling woody products. On the left-hand side, we boxed them, we shipped them in the fall and in the winter and early spring. We were doing about maybe each bucket you see there in the middle picture has 5 bouquets. We do about, I want to say, maybe 1,000 to 1,500 bouquets a week during growing season. And then they're displayed in supermarkets like the picture on the left with a little picture of a little family to promote local. I hate to see that picture a lot of times. It's like, oh, is that me there? So that was our first major marketing channel. The second marketing channel is the wholesale florist. So we dealt with, we kind of focused on the maybe 6 to 8 wholesale florists. And again, it's our choice. I know it's a risk to take on with few customers and like putting all your eggs in one basket. But we decided to make the best out of the best business relationship with the best wholesale florists we feel like they are. So we have good relationship with a few DC very premium wholesale florists who sell to customers like White House. Actually, the yellow dahlias you saw on the upper left, they've gone into a special party for Mrs. Trump once. I'll continue the story later if we have time. It's a funny story. And then we a few customers in Pennsylvania and one of the very large wholesale florists in New Jersey as well. So we sell to these wholesale florists year-round as well. And then weddings and events. We had the capacity to design and set up. The one on the left, we have employees doing it. I just noticed I happened to put my kids' pictures in there. The one on the upper left is my daughter designing centerpieces. And the one on the lower left, the one on the 12-foot ladder, stringing greeneries on those lines, that's my son. But we actually have a wedding setup team as well. We were doing about 75 to 90 weddings a year at that time. That's mainly focusing between end of April, May, until October. So the wedding business is slow during winter time here, because of its destination wedding. So then the COVID pandemic hit. So that's 2020. March 15th, 2020 is when the government announced COVID shutdown. Within a week, actually just a few days, not even a week, my supermarket customers all called to cancel all their floral orders indefinitely. And you remember at that time, supermarkets were considered essential businesses, but they did not know what to expect from floral products. While everyone, all the customers going into supermarkets, they're grabbing toilet papers, milk, bread, and food. So they called me up while I was the picture on the right is when I was doing when Wegmans called, canceling indefinitely. I was boxes, really a lot of boxes, hundreds of bunches of bouquets, branches to ship to them the very next day. So actually, not just them, all the supermarket customers called and canceled their floral orders indefinitely. And wholesale florists were temporarily closed down because they were considered non-essential businesses. And of course, you can imagine weddings and events were all postponed or canceled because there were large gatherings were not allowed. So you remember my 3 major business outlets? This is it, all done. And so at the time, this is what I have on the farm. I have a greenhouse and a cooler full of woody branches ready to be, we've harvested, forced, ready to be shipped out in March and April. So those were quince in the picture on the left, and pussy willow and forsythia in the cooler in the picture on right. And the greenhouse, looking like the pictures at the bottom, I have seed trays ready for seedlings to be planted out in late April, May, June, and I have cuttings, same thing, ready to be planted out. The plants did not know they need to stop growing because there's no business. And our employees, so I remember probably 8 employees plus Rick and I full time. What about them? What do we do? I'm not going to stop paying them. So I've decided I had to do something, big or small. So I have to pivot. I use this word a lot now, pivot, change, try to do something that is reasonable and will help. So my first response was I need to reach out locally. And so I reached out to local markets through social media. Remember, at that time, I did not have retail marketing sales, but we did have a pretty active social media presence just for through our wedding business and things like that. So Facebook, Instagram, and things like that. So I first posted there like, hey, we're going to start doing retail sales. I reached out to local chamber of commerce, other local businesses, and personal connections in order to get to retail consumer markets and local florists. Remember, local florists, they did not have a resource to buy flowers either because wholesale florists were shut down and other local businesses. But we did not have the mechanism to sell our products locally. So within a week or two, fortunately, we had a really good website designer managing company on our website. So I reached out to them. They were able to put together an online shop, very simple, not sophisticated, very simple online shop for folks to order online. And I had to come up with a new product form because woody branches and the way we grow flowers. Remember, we are a quantity grower supplier, just not very good for a birthday gift or birthday flower delivery. So I need to develop something that would fit in the time, the market, and people who want. And we need to come up with the COVID delivery and pickup practices. By the time we get this all figured out, Mother's Day was right around the corner. So we were ready to push a big Mother's Day sales with local businesses and retail customers. So instead of going like door-to-door delivery, we did site picking and business delivery, so people can order through their business. The local business really came out to support us. They took orders and let me know we needed 40 bouquets. Then we can make it and just drop it off at the business. Remember, I have the capacity to make bouquets. I can make 1,000 bouquets a week. So we did a big push on that. And new products. If you remember, people were staying home. Everyone was watching YouTube and start cooking. So we figured they may want to do their own flower arrangements to cheer them up, and which they did. So one of our big items was actually DIY flower buckets you saw on the right. So we put assorted flowers in those buckets. We drop it off or picked up from our farm, and people just do their own arrangements. We had a lady who used our buckets. She would buy a couple buckets a week, and she would make 5 arrangements and drop it off at her friends and relatives and businesses' front door for people to enjoy. We did 10-type bouquets, very similar to our supermarket bouquets, so folks can buy them, just put them in vases weekly. We realized the succulents we grew for wholesale and weddings can be easily put together as a sorted 6-pack, and then people can make their own garden, dish garden. So it's really to look at the market, what the market needs, and we just came up with these ideas to fit those markets. I cannot do daily delivery because I have a huge truck, not small trucks. So we did weekly delivery, only Thursday and Fridays. I also don't have Saturday employee to help. So all our employees except for wedding team works Monday through Friday. And then we had to deliver a no contact delivery and pickup practices. This is not new, but we started doing subscription orders so people don't have to go online, order them every time. And with the online shop, also, I don't have to answer phone calls all the time. It's just not doable. I would be so messed up. I'm not that organized. And then, thanks to Cornell training, the grant writing ability, I applied to any and all federal, state, county COVID assistance, grants, loans, USDA disaster payments, PPP. You don't really have to know grant writing, but what you need really, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is your record keeping. QuickBook. Use QuickBook as entering your expenses, your labor expenses. Just keep track of it. If you're not good at using QuickBook, at least use it as a record keeping tool. A lot of these grants and loans during COVID time, the deadline is within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. By the time you know it, you need to be able to pull out your record and to show them I had a loss in income. I am paying labor so much to be able to get in. And we got a lot of help from these grants and loans, these assistances, because from switching from wholesale, large quantity, although we're doing retail, as you know, it cannot compensate our loss of income from the wholesale. So we really, our biggest, I guess, lifeline was actually these assistants pulled us out of the water. And again, if you don't know how to use QuickBooks, learn it. Even if you just use it as a record keeping tool, you find an accountant. He or she can use it and pull the numbers out for you easily. Build good relationship with your banker, your local chamber of commerce, your economic development offices, and your university extension people. Many of these opportunities showed up. And how I got to know about it is these folks called me up saying, hey, I heard about this. Why don't you apply? Some of them called me twice. So I got funding twice from the same program. I know this is a kind of maybe we don't want things like COVID to happen again, but there will still be programs, grants, especially for you new growers, grant opportunities coming up. You've got to be able to have records to demonstrate, to show what you have, what you want to do. Lastly, I just want to put this in here. I know we heard about this too much, maybe too many times, but be kind. Just be kind. I just feel like one of the things I held dearly in my heart during that period is just be nice, be kind. Any of the wedding events rescheduling, we just accommodated. We did not charge any additional fees. People are stressed out enough. Business partners, a lot of our venue partners, our wholesale floors partners, they're also in the same boat. And the employees, they were in the same boat. And later on, I have some other stories to tell you. What we did during COVID period helped us out later on and other risks we faced as well. So at the end, really, we did not really totally recover from what we did during COVID on sales. We came out okay in a combination of things. We did have to throw away most of our 2020 spring woody products. So you see the trailers here, loads and loads of woody branch products got hauled to the back of our property line. On the lower right picture is we created an amount of new compost pile with our spring woody products. You just can't sell 6-foot branches easily locally for people to display in their houses. But fortunately, our old markets kind of came back, started buying again, just in time for our 2020 flower season. In May 2020, supermarket customers started ordering bouquets again with Mother's Day, and then in large quantity, because supplies were not coming in from overseas, and people really having the desire to support local. In October 2020, wholesale florist customers started buying flowers again. And pretty much by the end of year 2020, all of our pre-COVID wholesale customers are buying again. Wedding-wise, the weddings are slowly coming back in the summer of 2020, but in a smaller scale, more like micro weddings, 30 to 50 people weddings. We're okay with that. You just have to learn how to do it differently. And more is the demand for local flowers are really, really high, both wholesale and retail, throughout 2020 and 2021, because the demand to support local, as well as there are other reasons, limitation and restriction of supply from overseas, and there were some nature disaster down in South America, so the supply there were going down. So we had a better year in 2021 than we could have imagined in terms of demand asking from us to supply flowers. And the weddings came back bigger and more elaborate in 2021 and 2022, almost like people are trying to make up what they couldn't have during COVID years. And through the COVID time outreach, I'm actually getting more local wedding clients and partnering with local venues, because our outreach, many local folks didn't know us because we were wholesale only. And we had much stronger and closer working relationship, stronger friendship on top of all with wholesale florist buyers and our wedding partners, venues, restaurants, other vendors, etc. So now I could sit back, take a breather. Everything is back. Some things even better than before. Let's get comfortable, and let's just can live happily ever after, right? Not so fast. A couple other examples of it doesn't take a pandemic to create risk and disasters. In spring of 2021, one of our supermarket customers decided not to buy our peonies, and that's our biggest income in the springtime. We could get close to, depends on market and harvest. We were looking at $30,000 to $50,000 in a few weeks of sales. And I found out a month before harvest time, one of our biggest buyers said, no, I'm not buying from you. We found another supplier, can have longer season or whatnot. So I had to quickly, and again, you heard me saying this before, pivot and change to find alternative marketing outlets. So I reached out to another supermarket buyer who was not buying peonies from us before, but on the Eastern Shore, you folks will laugh at this. We always said, everyone knows everyone. So this supermarket buyer is sort of a close friend in a way that I actually worked with her ex-husband's wife, and her stepdaughter is also my salesperson for my wholesale florist who I buy flowers from for my weddings. So she agreed to buy, with that set aside professionally, she agreed to buy some of our peonies to supplement her existing peony supply. And I reached out to one of our wholesale florists in New Jersey. They agreed to buy my peonies for their retail customer market. So I actually am getting higher price selling into that market and buying my peonies to go through their branches that sell to supermarket. I get a little lower price on that because you have a middleman, but overall kind of balanced out. And we sold a lot retail because of established kind of retail market from COVID. So again, we pulled out of this disaster, this risk, okay. And then in spring 2020, one of our major supermarket bouquet customers decided in April. My bouquet supply started in May, so they decided in April that they will not buy our bouquets in 2022 because this company was purchased by a larger company, and they were supposed to buy from their global partner. And I did ask the question, my bouquet is local bouquet, how do you buy from your local partner? But it is what it is. You don't argue with, the size is just so different. So I have to turn around and again, pivot, find an alternative marketing channel. So in this case, I reach out to another supermarket and asking if they could expand the market for me. So they took in more stores for me so I could expand my bouquet that way. And I also outreach to a wholesale florist. And again, this wholesale florist does not have to do that for me. But during COVID, the friendship, the good relationship, accommodating each other, they agree to buy flowers from us, not in bouquet form, but in single variety form. So I had to quickly learn and train my employees to packaging our flowers, cut them differently, but we actually get higher price that way. Not a high quantity, but I was able to sell our flowers in a higher price. And again, we pulled through this risk in 2020, all right. And in the meantime, we talked about financial risks, marketing risks. You can see them, it's all combined in one. You should be running your numbers to decide which market you are going in and you want to pivot to. And I haven't talked about human resource issue. We were lucky at the beginning, during the first part of our farming years, we did not have much employee issues, except for training, and we all face that. It's someone who didn't know, you got to train them. Some takes longer, some is faster. But after COVID, we did lose some employees during COVID time for personal reasons, or not because of COVID, but just personal reasons, health and other things. we had to hire after in 2021 and 2022. We had terrible trouble hiring like everybody else. Couldn't find applicants, or you invite them to interview, they don't show up, or you hire them and the turnover rate is very high. We're not used to that. So Rick and I met and decided that we need to do something differently. So right now I have 10 employees. About half of them are full-time year-round, and the other half were part-time, and we are offering flexible hours and time. So as long as they commit to it, they got to stick with it. But I have a lady who is a retired teacher who only wants to work 8 to 12, Monday through Friday, and then she can do something else in the afternoon. I have another lady who is working 9 o'clock. I'm sorry, 9 o'clock to 2:30. So she can put her kids on the bus and go home in time to pick the kids up. They're great ladies to work with, but I have to accommodate it. That also comes down to when you have people come in and out at different times, you have new people, there's no continuity for the job you need to get done. And for a wholesale farm like us, it's very intensive. We need to get large quantity of things done in a large area every day. So we had to lean on our more, I guess, senior employees, building leadership, have them be able to be in charge, knowing what's going on, teaching the newer employees, coming in and supplement. So this kind of relationship, identify their strengths and weaknesses and communicating with your expectations with them, it's very, very important. We never done this. We probably should have had it. We started working on one thing we started working on now. It's a employee handbook. So your crew leader have something to go to tell the newcomers, saying, look, this is what's expected of you. This is what we decided. That's what the boss, instead of just, here's what I said, and then it's just not going to work. So we need to have a better system, and we are not there yet, but we are working on it. Another risk you're looking at is inflation. Everything has increased prices greatly. Our supplies, our soil, our chemical, even the pots we're buying, the vases I'm buying for wedding. And during COVID time, 2020, I was too scared to ask for increase in prices. But I started doing it this year, asking it, look at our numbers, comparing. Sometimes I don't even look at what competitors are charging. I just know that I'm higher price, but I have better quality. And I asked. I got a yes most of the time. So don't ask, don't scared to raise prices. You can do less and make more. And I think later on you will get to the lessons of cost accounting. You will really, really know that. And these are just independent risks, but every year, Mother Nature always throws something at us. And Rick faces these problems, the production side of things, all the time. 2022, early spring frost killed off half of our peony buds. 2021, some bugs came through in the fall. We didn't check it within a week or two. Every holly leaf has holes on it that we couldn't sell that season at Christmas time. Other years, our mock orange, it's a flowering branch, ready to be sold. These are mock orange, is a flowering branch. All the petals got blown with holes within a day. Winter annual died off. We planted annuals, we call them winter annuals. We planted some of the flowers in the fall, but next spring's blooming. Winter weather too cold, they died. We have to replant them. So we have very diversified crops and markets, and we use marketing methods. And me, good at pivot, I guess. I don't know, but you just got to be ready and to be flexible. and you got to be willing to change. And so I'm coming to an end. I would just like to talk to you about, you're going to develop a business plan, but a plan is just that. This is coming from an academic person, former academic person teaching people how to do business plan. A plan is a plan. You need to evaluate it, you need to change it, and you need to think about it, what is best for the business, for the employees, and for you. In my case, for Rick, me, and the family. We started this farm when we were in our late 30s, early 40s. So right now, I'm looking at it a little differently. When I first started, you've got to set aside time to do it. And I cannot emphasize it enough that it's hard when you're a husband and wife team, particularly. You got to sit down, you got to meet with each other like business partners to talk about business. That's the only way you can pull yourself aside and looking at the business and really consider business future. I know this sounds like a cliche. The only constant in life is change, and it is true. You can't just do how you always do it. Even if I know some folks saying you are the 11th generation. I bet every generation is doing things differently, as you said, and probably every 20 years you got to do things totally different. And this brought me back to the beginning of my career at Cornell. I use this, but I feel so much more. I understand it so much more now. Is the Chinese character for crises, as you could see the two words there. Weiji is a combination of risk and opportunity. So the word on the left is risk, Wei, and the word on the right is opportunity, and the combination of it is crisis. So throughout my farming life, and the COVID really making me think is every opportunity, inside of every opportunity is risk. And the result of every risk could be an opportunity. It's how you look at it and how you deal with it. So at the end of my presentation, I think I leave enough time. We can chat about different things and you can actually see me. But this is the land we bought when I came to Federalsburg with a dream to have a farm. And now the land is full of flowers with people working on the land, cutting flowers. This is when I had a dream, and the persons down there, I think it's my husband and our first employee, John. And now the trees are grown up. We're cutting branches to sell. And this is when I had to go out there, plant the 36-acre on my hands and knees with I think Isaac is probably 1, Pro is probably 3 or 4 in the picture. Don't know. But now we had these folks helping us. And that's my 18-year-old daughter and 16-year-old Isaac, my son, and the 2 of us. Getting old. With that, I'd like to thank you. Let me see if I can unshare my screen. And hi, everybody. I'll open to questions, I guess. Anybody have questions? Is that how we're going to do this, Madeline and Robin?
Sure. If anyone has any questions,
Or comments, or
put them in chat, or if you feel more comfortable unmuting yourself and asking them. I just asked if you prefer that your video, you don't necessarily have to have your video on if you prefer not to be recorded.
Yeah, you can leave it on if you don't mind being recorded.
Yeah, if you don't mind being recorded, you could leave it on. Oh, see, Meg had a question.
Yeah.
What would you do differently starting out knowing what you know now?
I would definitely be, like I said earlier, between Rick and I, we probably would have been more meeting more frequently, starting early. And when we started hiring employees, I would start developing this I guess SOP of different items and knowing what to do. The employee employee handbooks and things I would start earlier, and again coming back to Rick and I didn't start meeting regularly until about 5 to 6 years down the road. We're not even doing it very well now, but I would definitely start doing it and looking at the business is more professionally instead of just over the dinner table. We got so much, I think we're looking at business as well as looking at family lives. With you folks, husband and wife working together, we both full-time on here. And we look at businesses differently. We look at different aspects of the farming. We notice different things. Again, there's no right or wrong. I'm looking at the market. He's looking at the production. We get into fights. And that's not good. That's not worth it. So when we put ourselves aside, we sit down, we say, today we're going to talk about an issue. We meet, we talk about, we have a plan. Then we are professional. After that, we can go back to me on the marketing side, him on the production side, and then we can be husband and wife over the dinner table. So. And someone else has another question?
Yeah, we had a question from Ashley. She said, I love your presentation. Can you talk more about stopping the specialty fruits and where were you selling them?
We had, so I was, first of all, we first started selling at local farm stands. We have a lot of farm stands nearby. We got stuck we were too big to just sell retail and to local farm stands, farm markets, but we were too small to approach supermarkets and other bigger like produce buyers. So I kind of stuck in the middle in order to sell. So the local farmers markets and farm stands and farmers markets could not. And I'm not big enough to approach the local supermarket and say, hey, I have these peaches, but I'm just not big enough. So that's kind of where we stuck. And I could have focused on that, grow more of that, and go through the certification procedure, have the good agriculture practice certificates and things like that. But it's a choice. Personally, I'm a florist. I'm more comfortable with flowers. So we just decided to go to that direction. And also, for us, the fruits are very risky. We had fruits and plums, and the plums were getting damaged by spring frost almost every other year. And the peaches takes a lot of spraying in this humid weather in Maryland. Once a week, twice a week, we have to spray. So a lot of input, a lot of effort harvesting. We don't have the laborers to go there harvesting. So that's kind of decision saying, okay, we're not gonna, we have to focus. So and coming back to Meg's question early on, I'm thinking back, what would I do different? I would have probably decided to focus a little earlier. We spent the first 5 years kind of like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We like them all. So then we got rid of figs and persimmons pretty early on because they just don't grow well. We do still have beach plums and pawpaws. Beach plum, we're selling it totally to gin makers and wine makers. We have some customers who buy them all from us. So we kept them. And also it's Rick's love. So we sometimes just can't get rid of them. Even the profit margin is not as high. Don't tell him that. So, but yeah, there's life choices and things. And pawpaw is just fun. Who doesn't love pawpaw? So we have about a few hundred trees of pawpaws, and again, we sell to we go to a few farm markets in DC in September, and pawpaw we don't have competition because it's hard to ship, and it turns black easily. So we have a lot of peach competitors, right? We don't have pawpaw competitors, so we can, and then we limit the number of plants so we can sell them all.
Great. Yeah, we had a question from Catherine. Thank you for your presentation. Did you ever think about doing contracts with supermarkets and wholesale markets?
Yes, but we haven't had to do that because we kind of it's another personal decision or a business decision. We were I guess you call it relationship marketing. They haven't approached us to do contracts, so we haven't done it either. That's something. It's a good point. It's definitely something to consider to do. Then they got locked in. I won't get dropped as easily.
Yeah. I have a question for you. How did you connect with the wholesale markets? Like, how did you go about doing that?
Okay. At the beginning, the old-fashioned way. So we so show up. Don't ever. Some of you talked about growing flowers, and if you are small, I got a lot of questions on. So I did it with wholesale. You can do it with not retail, but with retail florists. So your wholesale market might be retail florist, not wholesale florist. I have the quantity. I wanted to sell to wholesale florists, not retail florists. So you gather your product, you knock on the door, and you go visit. Wholesale florists take a lot longer. You learn from them. They look at your product and they say to you, this is too bloom, this is too tight, this is what I want. And you get to go around their market and you get to spy on what other people supply on them. So that's how I got started. I went to learn. And then I always tell everyone saying, we are small as a wholesale florist supplier. We're much smaller than your California growers. We're much smaller compared to your South American growers. But our product is special. Like I said, we picked woody cuts. That's how I got in the door, because we have woody cuts that other growers can't do or don't want to do. I got my foot in the door. I built good relationship. I'm reliable. I'm responsive. And not just product, business practices. They call you, you want to give them a price sheet, time of supply, you got to be organized, consistent book-wise. So you got to learn how to do paperwork, and you have to send them price sheets. You don't have to act small. So you be there. Once I get my foot in, I started selling them other products, competing with California on their lilies, on their other things, because they know I'm a reliable supplier. So you got to find what's special about yourself to get into the market. Once you get in a door, then they will buy other products from you, even though, comparatively, my lilies I don't have as many varieties of lilies as California grower, but they will buy from me because they know I'm there. Or they will call me last minute for something, and I would tell them if I can respond or not. Yeah. Other things?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Rue. Is that okay if I ask a question? I just want to say thank you so much for sharing. Oh my gosh, wow, what a story you have. And you made the comment about how, over the many generations, you bet we're not farming the same way. And it was just striking because my parents always say to me, like, they have no illusion that the way I farm is going to be the same way that they farmed, and so that really struck a chord with me. And I guess I just wonder, so you both are here. I guess your family doesn't live in the area. And so you really, do you think it was like your academic background that you're so familiar with the knowledge that it would take to go on it your own? Or, I mean, it just strikes me, I'm just someone who has a lot of family and has only been in one place, and you go to a totally new spot with maybe not a lot of family. And I'm wondering how you manage that, or what your family thinks, or, just, it's really extraordinary.
Our family think we are crazy. I'm Chinese. I got a PhD, and I said, I don't want to be working at Cornell. I want to start a farm. But they were very supportive. But I think deeply in their heart, they think we're crazy. No, it was hard at times when the kids are little, but you got to love what you do. So I love the business side of things. I think entrepreneurship it gets me excited. Some people drink, some people take drugs. I like the excitement of entrepreneurship. I get out there, I get turned down, and don't get me wrong. It might sound like an easy picture. I started approaching wholesale florists, and I just got in. I don't think they mind me naming their names. Delaware Valley Wholesale Florists in your backyard in New Jersey. I knew them since I was at Cornell. I called the owner saying, hey, you know, the little Wenfei is coming to start a business. Would you buy from me? Did they buy from me? Yes, 5 years later. So they are really good company. They taught me. So go there asking questions. I showed them my product. Now what they want, they told me everything. I started buying from them. So you can spy on things. I had wedding business, so I got on their customer list. I learned that way. They don't mind. They teach me. And 3 years later, they start buying some of my products. I learn. I become more important to them 5 years later. And now I go to them every week. They're buying from me weekly for their retail florist market. They're buying from me from their division who sells to supermarkets. You got to be there in time, be professional. That's one thing. I know I'm always friendly with them and bubbly enough to be their friend, but business is a business. If I do something wrong, they'll drop me. So just on top of things, and don't hesitate to ask them to help you. I think most of there are more open. Delaware Valley is very good, very open. There are ones, some more difficult. Some look at me. I'm only 5'2", 110 pounds. And 15 years ago, they looked at me like this little young Asian girl. They don't know. She doesn't know anything. I can be loud. So you just have to stick up for yourself as well at times. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, we had a good question from Zwan. Thank you so much for your presentation. You mentioned you developed a direct-to-consumer channel. And as the market gradually opened up, how would you balance your wholesale channel and your direct-to-consumers?
I'm actually cutting back. I'm kind of not actively pushing my direct-to-consumer channel. We started that during COVID, and I'm not actively pushing it. I'm not shutting it down, but it's a business decision. If I have another person, if my children are ready to step in, I'm ready to grow, or if I'm ready to cut back my wholesale channel, that's ready to go. But 10 years ago, I cut back on direct marketing, and the situation is still the same. So I'm not growing it, to be honest. We keep our presence locally. We still have an online shop up, but I'm not pushing it. I'm not actively growing them because our wholesale channel is still growing. So again, come back to your business plan, your mission. What do you want to do? Your goal. My mission is never in direct marketing. We're just too big. It's gonna distract us. And coming back to one of my slides from the early years, they're a lot of fun. I can't tell you how much I enjoy leading egg tours on the farm. I can get everybody laughing. They can get their hands on trying to make arrangements when I'm there teaching them. I love it, but I have to cut it out. Sometimes you just have to decide what is good for the business, for the family, and that's one thing. I might do it again when I'm 65. Who knows? When I don't want to deal with the supermarkets anymore. I don't want to make thousands of bouquets anymore. So.
Great. Yep. And we had another question from Maria. What are your recommendations for managing inventory of highly perishable products?
For us, I think depends on how you look at it, how you sell it. For us, I pretty much pre-sell my products because we have a few years behind us. I kind of know what supermarkets are going to order. I started reaching out to supermarkets in July. And then wholesale markets, usually I reach out to them with a list 2 weeks before. So by the time we harvest, highly perishable. So by the time I harvest it, I pretty much harvest to order. And by my own decision, I kind of know what people might want more. So I will harvest a little more. Again, these are all for wholesale. You have less control if you're doing retail, because people coming and you don't know what they want. I also sell things that I have flexibility to manage. I sell mixed bouquets. So I can put anything in there that I'm harvesting. I have more. If you're selling it by variety, you need to know for sure. Don't overdo it. So you want to reach out to your buyers. This is wholesale ahead of time. So you know pretty much what you will be harvesting. And if you are doing highly perishable product, post-harvesting practices are very important. I've heard people over and over again, but I can't afford a cooler. You can't afford not to have a cooler.
Okay.
Harvesting them in the field, our flowers go straight into buckets with flower food with shades on top as soon as we harvest it. As soon as they're harvested, they go into the cooler overnight before we even sell them. We have 2 walk-in coolers, expensive. We have to buy the bullet and do it. Nothing better than that. We can't go to wholesale florists and try to compete with these large, most equipped companies without good practices. You are small, but you don't have to act small. You cannot afford to act small. You have to have the good practice for your product.
Yeah. Okay. We got a thank you from Christina, and Hannah says, thanks for sharing your story. Do you feel you have an idea of the number of employees at this time? How did you get to that point? And at what point did you begin hiring?
Okay. What point did we begin to hire? When we actually needed help. So yeah, let's see. We first started hiring production help because we have 36 acres. When we started planting, actually, we planted a lot of trees. We used temporary labor agencies. So they would just ship 10 people to us. We have them for 2 days. We plant 450 trees and we're done. But when Rick needs consistent help, that outdoor on production side, we need to teach someone with the knowledge. Then we hire our first employee. Right now we have, I think our full-time equivalent. So we have 10 people plus Rick and I, 12, but full-time equivalent is about 8. And I think that's what will, if we have 8 really good people, knowledgeable, full-time equivalent means, so you have 2 part-time who both work 20 hours, that counts 1 full-time equivalent. So I think 8 is, and it's knowledgeable, reliable. I think that's what we are very comfortable to do what we do right now. Yeah. So don't hesitate to hire, really. You can't wear yourself out. You cannot afford not hiring when you grow to a certain point. You saw the picture of me planting a lot of times, but it's also hard because you love to do what you do. Nothing more than go out there. I can make those bouquets faster than anybody on the farm can do. And I'm proud of that. But if I'm out there making the supermarket bouquets, I cannot be in here doing business planning, looking at my books, doing my QuickBook, have the records, evaluating things, contacting my buyer. In July, to sell products in November, I need to do that. I need to give them a price sheet that is profitable. It's organized, very clear. So I have to make choices. I still make majority of the wedding flowers myself. That's higher profit, and I guess I'm just controlling sometimes. But bouquets, I have to let it go. So you got to make choices. You got to hire someone, hire good people, do things for you. And
okay, we got another thank you. I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
If anybody else has a question, or if you'd like to jump in and ask it or put it in chat.
you guys anytime. Now I'm part of the group. I know I haven't done presentations for years and years, and I guess I can still do it, huh? But
Excellent.
you Google Seaberry Farm. You will get my phone number and my email anytime throughout your class or afterwards. Want to throw ideas? Tell me what I said wrong, or let me tell you what you did wrong. I'll be happy to do that as well. Anytime. I'll be happy to be part of your group.
Thank you, Wenfei. You're amazing. You were amazing extension specialist, and I knew you'd be an amazing farmer. I have a question about the one part of the sort of the business plan you haven't talked about is estate planning, transition planning.
Mhm.
Do you have any plans for that? Have you
No.
thought about that?
No. Rick and I, it's family decision. My kids are coming to, I guess 16 and 18 is almost there. But Rick and I didn't come from a family farm. We started this totally on our own, and totally neither of our family have any farming background or things. So we kind of decided, if my kids are interested, they've been with us since they were 5, 4, 6, actively working. Like, Isaac is my fastest weeder. He's driving a tractor. Pearl is my best assistant on bouquet wedding design and other things. And Isaac's been seeding since 4. Pearl has been doing wedding since 6, 7, or 8, actually helping, not just come along. So if they want to do it, fine. If they don't want to do it, we'll find someone else to take over the business, or I will shut it down. It's personal decision. You might say like, what? But it's our, it's
I find
not
a lot of
business
farmers, a lot of farmers never want to retire. So if your children don't want to take it over, do you see yourself retiring, or do you see yourself doing it until you drop?
Depends on who you're asking. Rick or I. I'm riding horses 3 times a week. I'm ready. So no, we talked about it. We still have energy to do it full time, and we're not planning on greatly expanding acreage wise. I want to do better at what we do. So business wise, we still have the capacity. We're only on this land for 15 years, so there are a lot of things we can still improve. Some of your family on your farm land probably farmed it much longer than us. So our decision is we're going to maximize and do better at what we have on the farm. We might, make changes or whatnot. We're not planning on buying another 50 acres. We are in our 50s, so we're looking at it. Another 50 acres would take another 15 years. But we want to do better here. We want to keep efficient operation, but maybe in a few years we will start thinking about transitioning it to someone if the person is there. If not, we will cut back somehow in some way. So this is our thinking. We haven't had our husband and wife meeting officially on that yet. So we will sit down, talk about it. And again, if you have kids involved in your operation, don't just talk it over the dinner table. Sit down and say, we're going to talk about this with pen and paper in front of a table, like a business, like your CFO, CEO, and your human resource manager. Talk about it. You cannot talk it over the winter. You're going to ruin your family relationship.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah.
Fantastic presentation. It seems like everybody agrees. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, we just on time. I did not have. That's great.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome to stay with us for the rest of the program.